Hey everyone, I'm Coral. Welcome back to my channel. I'm here today with some shit that I bought during February. That's what month it is, right? Yes. Yes, it is. Let me consult my brain records. Yes, it is. So, I bought some books this month. I bought quite a few books this month. I should have bought so many. What am I gonna do with these? I don't know. I have room now, but like I can't, it's not sustainable. Even with me like getting rid of shit, like I am never gonna read again. I don't think about it. I don't want to talk about it. Like why do I have this? It's still unsustainable, but that's okay. I mean, it's a little bit of a pick-me-up, isn't it? A little bit of a reward for being stable lately. So here we go. First of all, I have a couple books here that were sent to me by a friend, Rachel, Books on the Brain. Thank you so much. First she sent me The Haunting of Nicolas Cage, which sounds like it's going to be just absolutely bananas, like Nick Cage himself, who is like one of my very favorite weirdos in the world. This is about him locking himself up in the LaLaurie mansion that he at one time owned. I don't know if he still does. I've heard that he's had to sell some of his weird things in the past couple years, but he's like notoriously into fucking weird shit, right? And so like this seems like it's going to blend like fact and fiction, but in this book he locks himself up in his creepy New Orleans mansion and tries to write a book, and it seems like it doesn't go well. Don't know a ton about this. Short and sweet, it seems like it's a novella. It's barely over 100 pages, and I'm really excited for this. This is like immediately on my pile for next month. She also very kindly sent me a copy of Off Season by Jack Ketchum. This is like a cannibal, like vacation gone wrong book, in the vein of Wrong Turn, although I think probably Wrong Turn is in the vein of Off Season, or like maybe The Hills Have Eyes, Off Season in the vein of Hills Have Eyes, because I believe that probably came out before this, if we're talking about the Wes Craven Hills Have Eyes. Yes, definitely. This is a book that I wanted to get to for a long time. I at one point picked up like a sequel to this, not knowing that like that's what it is. So like I've never read that because I needed this first. And so here it is. I'll be able to read it. I'm not super well versed with my Ketchum, so this will be a great opportunity to explore more of his shit. And then finally she sent me a copy of Hearts, Strange and Dreadful by Tim McGregor. This I heard about around the time it came out, and what I remember, the vibes I remember from so long ago are that it was like historical horror, kind of witchy, one of those books where there's like a social outcast in this village for some reason, right? But the back says she also ends up being kind of like a really important part of her village when there is a plague. So like that's something that really interests me, is like mass illness. And it also says that the townspeople become suspicious of some shit. Like there's a growing paranoia in the village, and like that also is super like one of my favorite things, where like a town or like a group of people like turn on each other. I love that shit. So I'm super excited about this. Great cover, beautiful. And thank you so much, Rachel. This was so fucking kind of you. I can't wait to read these. How am I gonna talk about all these books? I also picked up Grotesque by Natsuo Kirino. This is a story that spans like a larger group of time in these people's lives. It follows a group of women or girls, I guess, starting out from, I believe, high school into their adult years. And it says that like 2 of them have died at some point in this like journey. So I don't know a ton of what this is about. This has been a book though that I've been on the lookout for like years. And it was just like fucking at Barnes & Noble. It was just like at Barnes & Noble. I didn't even have to search for it or like buy a used copy, which is what I've been looking for because like that's how I just do things. I look for a used copy first and then, you know, here this came into my hands. So I'm very excited to read this. This is a large book. This is over 500 pages, but oh God, the feel of this book in my hands. It's just so floppy and good. Just feels good. It's gonna be a good read. I can tell. And then I also found a copy of Revenge by Yoko Ogawa. You might recognize that name from The Memory Police by Yoko Ogawa, which was one of my favorite books that I read last year. That was more like dystopian. This one seems definitely like horror. And this is a collection of short stories. Don't know much about it, but I do remember specifically hearing that this was good. So hopefully it is. I'm gonna try it out. Another book I found this month, A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers. And this is about a woman named Dorothy who's like big into cooking. And I believe that that is her career. Like that's what she does. She's a food writer, duh. It says that in that's the first goddamn word in the synopsis, but she loves food. She writes about food and also she loves sex and she's into some darker things that she has kind of suppressed until she can't anymore and some bad things happen. And I really like this paragraph here that says, a satire of early foodieism, a critique of how gender is defined, and a showcase of virtuoso storytelling, Chelsea G. Summers' A Certain Hunger introduces us to the food world's most charming psychopath and an exciting new voice in fiction. I believe this came out last year, 2020. So, 3 years ago now. Gross. Not that this book is gross for coming out then, but like the fact that 2020 was 3 years ago is kind of fucking disgusting. But anyways, I heard about it like when it came out. Like grotesque, looked for a used copy, haven't come across one, so I was really excited to just like find this browsing in Barnes & Noble, which is where I bought a lot of books this month. I also found a copy of Mother Thing by Ainsley Hogarth. First of all, this fucking cover is just, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's so like 1950s. I mean, look at this fucking like weird jello egg meat dish here. Like that, if that did not come from a cookbook from 1957, like I don't know what fucking did. Anyways, this is about a young couple, Ralph and Abby. They move in with Ralph's mom, Laura, who Abby really wants to make a connection with because she has, that's something she's lacked in her life, is a good like motherly connection. She kind of has one to a woman she works with at the old folks home she works at. But Ralph's mother is just like unwilling to even try it out, and eventually she dies by suicide and comes back to haunt the couple. And so like this seems so bizarre. It seems like it's gonna be just fucking weird. I don't think I've like heard of a story like this before, but I love when mommies are bad. I just love it, even if they're older mommies, and I can't fucking wait to read this. I was also fucking super psyched to find a copy of Ghost Written by Ronald Malfi. This is a collection of 4 novellas, and I don't need to know anything about it. I literally do not know anything about it besides that it's called Ghost Written. It was written by Ronald Malfi. Or was it written by a ghost? Who knows? The cover is great. I don't know how well you can see, but it's like a dark stage. The curtains are parted and there's a man with a creepy like clown mask on. I ended up picking up a copy of Smashed by Junji Ito. Also, this is another collection of his like shorter works bound up into one collection. If you haven't at least tried his stuff out, I really recommend it. Even if you don't know if you like manga, his books just like are so visually appealing. The stories are always so interesting and weird. And especially with these collections of his where the stories are short, they're just so easy to read. It's like eating junk food. It's like eating potato chips. I fucking love potato chips and I fucking love Junji Ito. Also at Barnes & Noble, I found a copy of All Hallows by Christopher Golden. I think this came out in January. This is his like newest release, and sometimes I'm hit or miss with his work, but the premise of this one sounded really interesting. I believe this takes place, 1984, and it's this small neighborhood on Halloween. The kids are trick-or-treating, but there are 4 children there who just look really out of place. They're in like creepy old Halloween masks, and they keep saying someone called the Cunning Man is like coming to get them. So it seems like this develops into something more, right? And it sounds really weird. And the Cunning Man, I mean, anytime there is a group of children saying like, this person with this weird creepy name is out to get them, I'm gonna need to know more. Also, really great cover. This like viney, almost jack-o'-lantern looking thing going on here. I hope this was good. I really did not enjoy his last book, Road of Bones, but you know, some of his stuff I've read and I've liked all right. So I'm hoping this one helps him redeem himself, because I thought Road of Bones was really just not very good. But I'm gonna try it. I'm trying some more. We're gonna see if we like it. I also found a copy of Tell Me I'm Worthless by Alison Rumfitt. This is a book that came out, I think, in the UK like a year or 2 ago, and I didn't get my hands on a copy, and then it was like, I wanted it and I couldn't find it anywhere, and I was so upset of like, what happened to this book? But then Tor Nightfire picked it up, which is probably why it had, you know, didn't have more print runs, but now here it is. Here it is in the US. And this is a story about a young woman in like a group of her friends, a small group of her friends. They go into this like abandoned house, I think, and like only 2 of them come out. So like one is still, I don't know, like dead there or still there. The way that the synopsis talks about it, it almost seems like she is still there somehow. But it is 3 years later, and the main character, Alice, it seems like she's doing stuff to like punish herself for whatever took place that night. But now her and her other surviving friend, or the other friend who made it out, are like gonna go back to the house. I don't know much about this, but it's just, the title really speaks to me, and I really liked the UK cover. Maybe I'll remember to include a picture of that. But when I found out it was being released again, I had to get a copy, and I found that at Barnes & Noble, and you know how I am. If it's like, if there is a book there that I do not own and it's in the horror section, I feel very compelled to pick it up, especially if it's from somebody who's not a fucking big name author, you know? And then I think this is the final one that I got from Barnes & Noble this month. I picked up a copy of Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. This is the sequel to Ninth House, and I'm really excited for more of this story. However, I definitely need to read Ninth House again, because that was like 3 fucking years ago that came out, and I've read a lot of shit in between, and the fine details are gone. So I remember it being like a secret society type of book. It takes place at one of the, like an Ivy League college. I don't know, some fucking school, right? But there's like all these different houses, and they have different types of magic and shit like that. But it takes place, you know, in our world. So it's not like a total fantasy book, but it's more like dark academia. Really great, the first book was. So I'm hoping this one is also fucking great. Okay, my battery is going to fucking die. So also I found Solstice by Lawrence Allison, and this is like comedy, horror comedy, where there's this music festival on a tropical island and everything goes wrong, and like, doesn't that sound familiar? Yes, it does, it should. And here's the book that's going to make fun of it, I'm assuming. Then I actually like bought books that I've been interested in. First one, Left to You by Daniel J. Volpe. This has just been everywhere for like a year or two maybe. And so I was like, well, I want to try it out. I think Volpe writes more extreme horror. I don't really know what this is about. It's like a character, his mother has cancer, and it seems like it's a story of like how far will you go to save someone you love type of thing, which I enjoy for the most part. So here's this. I also had to pick up Head Like a Hole by Andrew Van Wey. This takes place in the fucking 90s. There is a body that washes up in a New England town, and then like weird shit starts happening, but like it seems like it goes heavy on the 90s, which is like what I really want from this. I mean, the cover is beautiful, the title, holy shit, you're gonna sell books, right? Like naming a book this after the 9 Inch Nails song, right? So 90s, I love 90s nostalgia. And then lastly, a book that I've been dying to fucking get to is Between Two Fires by Christopher Buehlman. I've loved all the shit I've read by him. This seems like it's a like kind of like historical horror medieval thing where there are like, let's see, it's a brutal knight, a troubled priest, and a young girl orphaned by the Black Death, and they all have to team up to like save the fucking world, right? Kind of a thing. An epic tale of medieval horror. It sounds so fucking cool, and I love Christopher Buehlman so fucking much. So those are the 1 million books I ended up buying in February. I'd love to know if you've read any of these and what you thought about them. Let me know if you bought anything you're excited for this month. I'd love to hear about it. Otherwise, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you again. Goodbye.